Happy New Year, everybody. Happy 2025. I hope you all had a restful holiday season. I hope you got to see some family, take a break, get your game plan together for this year if that's what you chose to do. But I wanted to start this year off with a vlog of sorts because I don't want to just post content on my pages. I want to make this as personal as I can. I want to share my journey with you all from where I started to where I'm going. Because I think that there are a lot of people who could see themselves in a similar position to mine. I know that there are a lot of us who are going through maybe a period in time where it's like, what am I doing with my life compared to what would I rather be doing, right? And some of us are blessed to have careers where we're doing what we love and this is what we want to do for our whole lives, and I think that's beautiful. I think that's amazing. But for many of us, myself included, we have to do what we have to do to take care of our responsibilities, but we're not necessarily living in our passion or in our vision, right? And so I wanted to make this video to kind of share my story as to why I'm doing what I'm doing and how I'm working to make that vision a reality. Because this year is all about controlling what you can control and taking those action steps to get to where you're trying to get to, right? So ultimately what I'm talking about is freedom, right? Financial freedom, time freedom, your energy freedom. You can do what you want to do when you want to do it. And when we have this conversation around freedom and how to attain it, real estate is what comes up more often than anything else, right? You see real estate all over the place. You've heard about real estate forever. If you have real estate in your algorithm at all on social media, you hear buy properties, buy, and collect rent and stack properties, and you have this portfolio, and then you can go do whatever you want. And nobody really talks about why we're doing all this, right? What is the motivation behind why we're doing all this stuff? In addition to that, when a lot of people talk about real estate, it's, this is what I do. I'm a career real estate investor. I've been in real estate for 5, 10, 15 years, 30 years, whatever. And that's just their thing. That's what they love. That's what they want to do. And I think that's great. But for me, I have no desire to be a career real estate investor, right? And I wanted to make it known that that's okay. You don't have to make an entire living out of it for it to be beneficial to you, especially depending on the strategy that you choose. For me, that strategy is mortgage note investing, and I'll talk about why I gravitated towards mortgage note investing in just a second. But ultimately, real estate is a tool, right? Real estate is a tool that you use to build the life that you want. And you get to decide what that tool looks like, right? For some people, it's wholesaling. For some people, it's buying properties. For some people, it's fix and flips, right? For me, it's mortgage note investing. But ultimately, the end goal is to create that time freedom, right? That financial freedom. That's what we want. That's the whole purpose of all this. So I just wanted to share why I'm doing what I'm doing with mortgage notes and how it's going to put me in position to live that life that I want to live, right? And hopefully, somebody who's watching this will see the similarities and want to do the same. So in 2021, we're still kind of reeling from the COVID pandemic, right? Everything is going remote. We're not really sure what the world is going to look like after this whole fallout, resolves. But it felt like a good time to take an opportunity. So my wife and I, we decided to pack up from DC and Virginia, move out west to San Diego, because that's where we wanted to be. That's where we talked about living, for years, and it felt like the right time to do that. One of the main motivations for me moving to California was because I want to work in the music and film industry, right? That's what I'm passionate about. I love working behind the scenes to make these projects come to life. That's what I love to do. And I thought that I was going to move out here and, get a job in the industry with one of these film studios or music studios and, work my way up through the ranks, and that would be my career, and boom. I learned very quickly that that wasn't going to be the case. Obviously, I moved to the hub of where the industry is, and so there's a lot of competition to fight through, and I found myself having to take on a lot of freelance projects just to kind of make a name for myself and, build up that way. But long story short, I find myself working on these freelance projects while also working a full-time job and a part-time job, because San Diego is not a cheap place to live, but this is where I want to be, right? So I'm going to do what I have to do to make it happen. But I reach a point where I'm like, it's not it. I have no life outside of working. I don't really go outside. I'm not really enjoying, my days, the things that I have to do, because I'm always working. I'm always working on something. What really pushed me over the edge was when I could not go to my bass lessons anymore, right? I play bass guitar. My dream is to just be a sick bass guitarist, play in a band, go on tour or whatever. But that's what I love to do. That's what I get enjoyment from. And I was taking lessons with a teacher that I really clicked with. We were really making some serious progress, and it got to a point where I couldn't keep going. I didn't have the time. I didn't have the extra income to keep paying for lessons, and I had to stop. And that really made me upset, because one, it was aligned with my vision, and two, it made me feel good. It gave me a break from all the work I was doing. And I really kind of needed that in my life, And so once that happened, I was like, okay, enough is enough. I had to figure something else out. I had to figure out a way that I can make money without having to clock in, without having to work for it all the time, right? And of course, in my research, I come across real estate, right? Real estate is the way, it's the golden path, right? So at the top of 2023, I decided to start wholesaling, right? Specifically wholesaling mobile homes. What I didn't know until I started was that wholesaling is a job within itself, right? So I've already got the 2 jobs and the side hustle with the freelance gigs. Now I'm adding another job because I have to find the opportunities. I have to ask people if I can help them sell their home. I have to go find the buyers. I have to put deals together. Mobile homes kind of have an extra layer of difficulty to get through because I had to form relationships with park managers so that they'll let me work in their parks, right? And it was just not it. It was the complete opposite of what I was looking for, right? So I did a couple deals and I left the wholesaling behind. That's not it, right? From there, I was like, okay, well, everybody talks about rental properties. Let me look into rental properties, right? So I started looking at duplexes, fourplexes, things like that. Trying to get some rentals under my belt, but something in the back of my mind is still like, no, this isn't it. This is not what you're looking for, right? You want passive income. You want to create time and create freedom, and something about this just isn't sitting right. So as I'm looking for rental properties, I meet a guy who's like, well, why don't you just buy businesses instead? You can buy a business for the same that you would pay for a fourplex, and you can cash flow a few thousand a month versus a couple hundred a month after you collect rent and pay expenses and stuff. So I'm like, okay, we're getting closer. This is making sense, right? So I'm doing my research and I decide that I'm going to go after a laundromat, right? I like the laundromat industry. It makes a lot of sense to me. This is what I'm going to do. This is going to be my thing, right? I go through a couple months of searching for deals and, looking at different stores and stuff. I finally get one under contract at the top of 2024. Things are looking up. Things are looking smooth. I got a money partner. And right before the deal is supposed to close, it falls apart, right? My partner backs out on me. Couldn't find anybody to replace it. I lost my $10,000 deposit on that laundromat. So it wasn't fun, to say the least. But as I sat and reflected on the opportunity, I still had that feeling like this is not it. I would have had to go open and close the store. I would have had to collect coins, a couple times a week because it was still coin operated. I have to, clean the floors. I would have to make sure that there was nobody sleeping in the laundromat, things like that. And so it was still very, very hands-on, which is the opposite of what I'm looking for, right? So as I'm recovering from missing out on that opportunity and determining what my next steps are, I'm going to real estate meetups, networking events, just to meet people, see where they are, see what they do, try to expand my network. And I meet a guy who is a money lender, right? We get to talking and he goes, well, have you ever thought about buying mortgage notes? Like, what are you talking about? What does that mean? He's like, well, you can buy mortgages and instead of paying the bank every month, people will pay you. I'm like, that sounds interesting. He's like, no, you're not hearing me. Like, instead of buying a rental property and having to deal with tenants and repairs and property taxes and everything else that comes with owning a property, you can literally become the bank by buying a mortgage. It's hands off because all you're doing is buying paper, right? You relinquish yourself of all those responsibilities that you would have to have if you're owning a property, and you're secured by the property that the mortgage is tied to, so your money is safe. So I'm like, okay, this guy's speaking my language. This guy's making sense. Long story short, I continue to build my relationship with him. I go and join a program to learn the mortgage note investing business, and it turns out to be everything that I'm looking for. Everything that I'm looking for. Again, it's passive, it's secure, it's hands off, it's beautiful. So just shy of a year into the industry, and I'm all in on mortgage notes. And as I'm talking to people and explaining to people that this is an option, that this is an opportunity, I'm hearing more and more stories about, hey, I own 30 units, I own a couple duplexes, I own XYZ, and just listening to people talk about the issues that they put up with. And I'm like, wow, like, this is really something that people could use. And that's when I decided, even though, I'm new to the industry, to become a resource to people, because I feel like there are so many people similar to myself who would rather be doing other things with their life and their time and their energy if only they knew that they had this option. Right. And so I kind of took it upon myself to spread the good word, right? To let people know that this option exists, that this is a powerful tool that you can use to create the life that you want. And so that's kind of where I am now. I mean, I'm a mortgage note investor now. I buy mortgages for passive cash flow. I let other people know that they can do the same. And again, my whole purpose in all of this is just to revert back to the vision. I'm kind of taking the long way around. I still want to work in music and film. I still want to, master my bass and all that stuff. But I want to create that freedom and security first, because if there's one thing that the world has taught me in these past few years, is that nothing is for certain. You can get laid off or have an emergency at any random point, in life, and if you're not prepared for it, it can really be detrimental to where you are and where you're going. And so I said, well, let me take this strategy and use it to set up the foundation. Let me secure me and my wife's future. Let me make sure that our home is secured and our savings are secured, and all the while I'm not having to clock in and go to work to earn the income to get that security, right? All I have to do is buy paper. All I have to do is close these deals and collect this income every month. So I say all that to say that if you, like me, desire to do more with your time, to have more freedom, to have more experiences, to kind of break out of the box that you may feel confined in right now, this is a fantastic avenue to take a look at. It's really not difficult. It's not complicated. It's not that scary. Everybody that I've met in the mortgage note industry so far has been willing to offer a helping hand, offer more information. It really is a community, unlike, some other avenues you may find where it's like, oh, you kind of gotta fight for it. You gotta prove your worth before people are willing to bring you in. That's not my experience with the mortgage investing community. And so if you are looking to get some more out of life, if you are looking to free your time up, if you are looking to make some of that passive income so that you can do things that you've always been passionate about, or you want to try new things, or you want to save more money, or whatever the case may be, you want to put your bills on auto pay, right? Imagine buying a mortgage note and it pays your phone bill or your car note for the next 20 years, right? I mean, all of these things become possible once you open your mind and open your eyes to this strategy. But at the end of the day, again, I just wanted to share my story in hopes that someone would find similarities to their own journey and their own path. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, please shoot me a message and come and talk to me. I'm more than happy to discuss this with anybody, because I really do believe it's that life-changing. Again, I'm relatively new to it, but I see the potential. and I've already started to reap the benefits of what this can do. So please come talk to me. Let's figure out how to build that ideal life. Let's figure out how we can use the strategy to align with your goals. And until then, I mean, stay tuned. I'll be doing more of these videos as I go. Like I said, I want to keep this really personal and kind of share all sides of it, even if, you know, some deals don't go well, or, you know, I learned some new things along the way. But again, I hope that you all have a great start to your year. I think 2025 is going to be fantastic, and I look forward to connecting with you all as we go forward. So happy investing, and talk to you soon.